Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa, and this is my collage poster. The magazines that I decided to work with was Cosmopolitan and an issue of Esquire magazine. The first thing I'm gonna go through the women's magazine first. There was just a lot more going on there, so the first thing I noticed was that 77% of the ads were hair and makeup related. And then the other 23% was mostly like lotions, miscellaneous things like cat food, deli food, and clothing, but it's very little. And then also for contraceptive. Um, and then the models that were used in a lot of these ads, or the majority of these ads, were 66% of the models were white. They were generally young and thin. There were some black females, but they were more. There was very little, and I noticed as well is that they were more lighter skinned black females. I did not see any ads for women that were any darker than Kerry Washington here. And then another thing I noticed was regarding the ad itself is, whereas the men's magazine focused primarily on the product, and the women's magazines, the ads it was mostly the woman's face that was shown, and the ad was the product was more secondary to the woman's face and appearance. So the woman's face took up the majority of the ad, and then their product was just very little, which I thought was kind of weird, because you would think that they would want to highlight the product that they're selling. Instead, they're trying to tell you, hey, this is what you pretty much need to look like, and our products will help you do that. Also, in the women's magazine, the majority of the ads, of course, like I said, were hair and makeup ads. But the thing that really got me was what they call as native advertising. And native advertising is pretty much when a brand sponsors content, making it seem like it's actual content and like interviews, and things like that, but it really is just so they could sell their products. And I think this lady here, she's some fashion guru, and I thought it was an article about her, and it kind of is, but really it's sponsored by Head and Shoulders, and she keeps going on about how her hair being great helps her have a great day at work, and it just was kind of ridiculous. I did not see the native advertising in the male's magazine, which I thought was odd, but also everything was kind of like, with these ads, it's all about like your looks, and it's just your face is what you really need to focus on. And I think it's pretty sad that nothing else in these magazines really helps you to shape your life in any way meaningful, except for on vanity. So I think that that's really sad. Also, it's everything about changing. It's like changing my color, changed everything, and it's really bad message to be sending out to young girls, and especially women too, who are still like very much easily swayed by these kind of advertising. Moving on to the male magazine Esquire, the thing that I noticed, which was kind of weird, was the fact that there was a lot of watch advertisings. And I didn't realize how important, I guess, watches were to, I guess, a male audience, but it seems to be like the hip-hop happening thing, I guess. And so between watches, alcohol, and tobacco products, that was 66% of the ads. which was, I wouldn't have thought that that would have been the case. I thought it would have been more clothing advertisings, but like I said, that's not the case at all. In fact, so yeah, 66% were watches, alcohol, and tobacco, and then 34% was miscellaneous, kind of like hygiene products, like body wash and shaving creams. I think I saw like one car ad, which also was kind of surprising. I thought I would have saw more car ads. There was very few, like I said earlier, there's very few ads where there was actual like models, but in the ads that were that had models, it was usually, I would say, like 98% males, white males, and they were all middle-aged. So it seems like people that read these magazines are targeting middle-aged white guys. And then also regarding the fact that the ads itself too, when they did ads for these for just the product and nothing else, it was very simple. Like the ads were very clean. It was just the product and simple wording. Like it wasn't overwhelming, whereas like a lot of the ads for the female magazine was almost overwhelming in color and in just content inside of the ad. Like it was just too much visually, and the ads in the male magazine were much easier to, I guess, visually look at. Also what I noticed too is, you know, they're trying to sell men hobbies, whereas women, the only hobbies they're trying to sell us women are makeup and hair, everything, beauty. So men, they want them to fly, they get to, you know, race cars. One of these watches, I don't remember which one, is a diving watch. I mean, men like to go out and drink and have fun with their friends. They like to go fishing. It was very diverse in what the things that they expect and they think that men like. So it is kind of crazy that, again, you know, women were just, it's very limited versus the males. Also, whereas women, it's obviously, again, focusing on women's beauty and like health. Men's is not so much. It's not so much like that. It's kind of confusing because, again, like smoking and dipping and drinking, I guess all in moderation are okay, but they're not good in the way that they're trying to market it. They want men to just smoke and drink all the time because that's the cool thing to do, and that's really bad for your health. But they also, and I couldn't fit all the ads in here, but they do have men in ads where they're being healthy and they're lifting weights, but they're like super chiseled, super buff. So it's like, you want men to drink and smoke, but then you also want them to look like, you know, weightlifters. And it's kind of, to me, I think it's confusing, but then also you kind of want them to look like, you know, just normal body average, like an average body, and still look good. So I feel like for men it's a little more confusing in the sense, whereas women, it's like, you know, they just want you to look good physically. Just physically. Whereas men, it's like they kind of want you to look good, but if you look rugged, then that's okay too. But if you drink and smoke, that's also okay. And then I think, and then